Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast from GNF Property and Finance Group. My name's Chad Egan. I'm CEO and founder of the company, and I'm really excited for today's podcast. We've got a guest all the way from Yarraville who's come into Yarraville in Melbourne. He's come all the way to Bali today to join us and to give us a really good understanding of what is a financial advisor and self-managed super fund. So Andrew Bonnici from Egan Advice, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Bali.
It's been eye-opening since I've been here. This is my first time and already enjoying it.
Yeah.
And already starting to decompress, and apologies for the...
Well, I think the shirt's good for a Bali environment.
Yeah, there was no way you were going to see a tie today. Not in a pink fit.
Absolutely. So Andrew, welcome. Thanks for coming in. You've already been dealing with a few of our clients, speaking to our clients about self-managed super funds. And it's a big topic, so I guess what we're going to do today is just have a little chit-chat about what that is and what it means to Australians to have a self-managed super fund. But before we get into that, perhaps you can just give us a bit of an idea about your background. Tell us what's the Andrew Bonnici story?
The Andrew Bonnici story. Oh my God, when you put it like that. Look, I've been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah.
I started in the industry I can tell you, February 5, 2001. Okay?
Right.
Which was just after the dot-com crisis, but before GFC and all the rest of it. I've always been a holistic advisor, and what that means is I take into account the whole client situation, and I talk about different asset classes, and not just managed funds, not just shares. So my first role, I would do superannuation, insurance, investing, share-based managed funds, property investment, mortgage structuring, what else? Self-managed super funds, obviously. Yeah. There's probably a little bit there more that I've forgotten, but they're the main ones. And I did that for a long period of time.
So you can give clients advice on a full spread.
Full spread. The Australian client is different. Okay, they love property.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can be a financial advisor in Australia without having a handle of property, the way property works, negative gearing, where to hold it.
And a challenging time in Australia at the moment for that.
And all of that, because, again, if you're just going to a financial advisor and you want property and all they talk about is managed funds, it's, they're just not going to like it, right? Yeah. So I've always spoke about everything, a long time in the game. Then I sort of stopped doing that about 2014, 2015, set up a financial planning arm in an accounting company. And about 3 years ago, just in time for the first COVID lockdown, I started Endgame Advice. And it's been interesting, loving it. Really loving being my own boss, taking things at
getting
the
a
way
holiday.
I want to do it.
Are your own boss gets a
holiday, my God. So so that's good. Not having to answer anyone and doing things your own way. Like that. I have my own, beliefs and in relation to financial planning and stuff like that, and it's good to be able to sort of run through those.
Yeah, right. So lots of experience. It's not easy to become a financial advisor in Australia.
It's harder now. Now they've made it into
constant study,
at least 40 hours a year of continuing development. Now they've made it more like a profession, so there's a code of ethics. You need to have a professional year before you start practicing as a financial advisor.
Is there many financial advisors from a young scope coming through the ranks?
That's only happening now.
Right.
And what's actually happened in the industry since the Royal Commission, that really cracked down on the industry. And what you saw was the number of advisors go from about 25,000 to about 16,000 now.
To service advisors in the industry.
To service the whole of Australia.
Wow.
Now, there's more compliance than ever.
Yeah.
And you have to do certain tests, and there's more study, because now, again, it is a profession.
Yeah.
So that sort of puts some people off and like, I don't want to learn anything. I actually questioned and went, no, I actually still like it. I think financial planning industry has never, ever been better for clients, because the level of compliance and the level of compliance that exists anymore, it's not just fly by the seat of your pants, do something quickly and get out of the country. No.
Yeah.
Real advisors now are operating on fee for service, so it's no longer commission based. You actually have to substantiate what you've done during the year for the client and what you're going to do next year.
Right.
And you've got a checklist there. Did I do that, Mr. Client?
So
yes, I did.
Clean
Bing,
up
bing,
of
bing.
the industry? Would you
Definitely
say?
clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely cleaned up.
Yeah.
And if you want to be in the industry now, you really want to be an advisor.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there was just a lot of
because the root of all of this is money matters, and money is not easy to manage. We live in a complex money world, right?
And it's an emotional thing as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need technical side, have to know tax, superannuation, you name it. But there's also an emotional component to money.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that because everyone has their own relationship with money and stuff like that. Spendthrift, opposite, you name it.
Yeah.
Okay. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, because a lot of the clients in relation to property, they're coming to us because we have property all over Asia Pacific, as you know. And we're not going to talk about that in particular, but what we want to talk about is, I guess, what is a self-managed super fund for clients. And just so our guests can know, they can come to you, they can come to your website, we can recommend them over to you if they haven't set up a self-managed super fund. And if they'd like to, and you can take them through all the requirements and the benefits and have a personal one-on-one with you and your team. Yeah, but let's break it down. What is a self-managed super fund? If people have heard it in the news, SMSF, it's growing. Hundreds of thousands of Australians are now in it and taking control of their money. But break it down for us.
Okay. How do I explain this simply? With most super funds, retail or industry funds, you're a member of that super fund. What you are is the beneficiary. Okay. Everything is being done for your benefit. With a self-managed super fund, you're not only the beneficiary, but you're also the trustee. So you're the guy doing the rules, choosing the investments, basically operating it. Okay? So when you go to an industry fund, you're the beneficiary, there's another trustee who's doing that. With a self-managed super fund, you're doing both. So it really does afford you a lot of control. Okay?
And I think, is that what people like? They like the control over their own money as opposed to giving it to glorified, very well-paid CEOs in these
Very much so.
Yeah.
So for a person that likes control, likes to know how they're invested, an industry fund won't work because it's a tick the box, you do it. There's very little transparency. They just don't know. That's it. Yeah. If you want to actually control it, well, then you really want to know how you're invested. Yeah. And you don't want any rules or limits on where you can invest either. Yeah. And the only thing that really provides that is a self-managed super fund. Okay, because each year the trustee and beneficiary creates an investment strategy and they can say, all right, I want to 95% in Australian property and 5% in cash, or they can change it to their will. So that's the control they can do, which you couldn't do in an industry fund, no way, and even in a retail fund. You're unlikely because they still have limits as well. So
retail funds, like most people would know, was they set this up, they go to their employer, tick the box, and it just goes to whatever that employer, that fund, whatever that employer has chosen for their individual, or the individual can choose what...
There's a bit of both now, right? Most employers will have an industry fund because it's easier.
Yeah.
It might be whoever, Australian Super, this, that, whoever. Yeah. And it's very much tick the box, they get two boxes of insurance and all the rest of it. So that's fine. But now everybody has choice of super. So you start with that employer, this is our super fund. You can say, well, no, I've got my own super fund. Right. I'd like my contributions put here.
And that way the individual doesn't have super funds here. They've moved around
which
in the last 10, 15 years.
Which you don't want, right? So then you can take that super fund through your whole life. Okay, you don't have to set one up every time you change jobs or when the wind changes. Okay. That's it. And into retirement. Yep. So that's probably another reason why they like it. Why people like self-managed super funds.
So who qualifies for an SMSF? We'll call it SMSF, right? Keep it short.
It's not so much who qualifies. Right. You don't need to be 6'2" or whatever. Nothing like that. You basically want to have a certain balance. Okay. Me personally, I wouldn't recommend a self-managed super fund for a small balance. Why? Because each year there are costs involved that just don't make it wise for a small fund. Okay? So really, when you say qualify, you probably want your 250 is probably even better to set up a self-managed super fund, because suddenly those costs are well in proportion to the size of that fund.
So somebody who's got an existing $250,000 in their industry funds can then start to think about, okay, I'm going to take control of my money, of my future, and make the decisions myself, but with a team, right?
Bingo.
Which is financial advisor.
Yeah, that's it. And don't forget, they can combine their superannuation fund with their partner.
Right, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
so
choose the right partner.
Yes.
That's an interesting question, though, too, because we were talking about this earlier before about divorces and things like that. If somebody did with their partner, is it easier to unwind that as well?
With a self-managed super fund or SMSF, both people have a member account.
Yeah.
Right, so you've got a member account, so do I. You want to lose the super fund or leave the super fund, you just roll your member benefits out of the fund.
Okay.
If you're using a corporate trustee, that super fund doesn't have to disband; it can continue.
But if you've got a great wife, the white picket fence, the greatest
if that's all working,
that's all
no
working,
problem.
Then a joint fund
You keep
is good.
going.
Okay. More money in there and more ability to invest in different things.
Exactly right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess what are the advantages of SMSF versus an industry fund? You got your own choice, but you've got to manage it. You need a team behind it, like we're saying. So that comes with an annual cost, right?
Of course it does. Yeah. So the advantage is it's the control, and you can invest in different areas that you can't with an industry fund or even a retail fund. But the level of administration is a little bit higher. It's not just tick the box, receive a statement, once a year and read it and put it away. You've actually got to take an interest. So that's probably a bigger thing. Who qualifies? Somebody who wants to take an interest in their retirement.
Okay.
Yeah. But with self-managed super funds or SMSFs, you can incorporate some gear in a self-managed super fund, which you can't do with a normal retail one or an industry fund. The retail funds and industry funds tick the box. That's how you're invested. Well, with us SMSF, my God, you are really controlling it. So you can set up a share breaking account and just buy the underlying shares that you want. Okay, you can buy them in a proportion that you want. You don't have to be bound to anybody else's rules.
Is there controls? Can I just go and buy Bitcoin and empty my SMSF into that? Or
look, okay. Would I be recommending Bitcoin to most people in their super fund? No, I wouldn't, but they can. They can. Basically, with a SMSF, any investment that a human being can make, an SMSF can make. Yeah. Again, don't know if I'd be recommending the Bitcoins. Maybe just for a flutter, but that's,
I don't think it's turned out that well for a lot of people. But yes, okay. But that is the thing. So if an individual has an SMSF, and they're presented with an opportunity, whatever that might be, they still have to come to you for approval, or no? Once their SMSF is set, they can do as they choose.
You can have a SMSF whereby you manage it completely yourself.
Yeah.
If you're up to speed with the rules and the requirements, done. Or a lot of clients, mine, will have an advisor there as well who can help them do the day-to-day activities required. Yeah. Maybe purchase a share for them, get all the share statements to the administrator, all of that type of thing. Yeah. But there's no stopping somebody from doing everything and not having an advisor involved.
Yeah. And then from an age perspective, I think there's no wrong age to be thinking about retirement. That first and foremost, right? Because and this is probably why SMSF is becoming so much more popular these days. Is people taking better control of their money and working towards an earlier retirement. We've probably seen our parents, retire older and getting health ailments and things like that. So we are looking to retire earlier. So there's no perfect age to start thinking about retirement when you get into the workforce, right?
No. Really, what I tell everybody is that the earlier you can take control of your finances, the better for you. Yeah. The earlier you take control, you don't have to be risky. You don't have to put everything on black.
Yeah,
okay.
we've got a better plan for the future.
We can take into account compound interest. Okay, wonderful but boring. Okay, you can do all of that when you start looking at it earlier. It's really tough for an advisor or the person to go, never cared about my retirement till I'm 63. I want to retire at 65. Here's $100,000, make yourself a legend. Well, sorry, it doesn't quite work like that, right? But start doing it earlier, bingo.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't have to take that many risks. Slow and steady, move things around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the money do its work.
Let the money do its work. Let compound interest do its work. That's what you want.
Yeah, right. So who would you not advise to go in for an SMF? Who's not the right person? Somebody that doesn't really want to manage their money, but
if you don't want the additional burden, not for you.
Yeah.
Some people can get nervous when they know how they're invested.
Right.
They should not be in a self-managed super fund.
Yeah.
Okay. I've actually had that before.
Yeah.
He was in an industry fund, happy, no problem, because he just ticked the box. As soon as he knew his investments, developed a certain amount of anxiety. Even though when I actually showed him, look, here's an industry fund, this is what you're doing better. Oh, yeah, but each time the news says property's going down, this is going up, he starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we know what we've got to do here, and we had to shut up the self-managed super fund and just get him back to because you've got to have a peace of mind as well.
Yeah, I think that's good to know for people as well. It's not a stressful situation, but if that's your personality type, then maybe it's not for you. But if you
I would agree.
want to take control of your future and your financial future, then start the conversation, right?
Oh, for sure.
So how does that start with Endgame? People can give you a call. They can go to your website, have a look at your social media content. I know that you're working on.
That's just starting, but all of those.
Yeah.
The website has a punch your name in, and I'll give you a call or reply to your email. Then it's a short phone call, probably 15 minutes, just to make sure we're on the same page. That I can help. Then after that, it's one of the biggest rules with financial planning is to know your client. Okay, so as dry as it sounds, I have to get to know the client. So then I'm asking them questions. Okay, how much money you have? What's your retirement like? When do you want it? How much risk do you want to take on board? All of these kind of questions. Once I've got those done, then I can go back to the client with recommendations and slowly filter down into what they actually need. Yeah. So it's a complex role, financial advisor. Okay, so let's walk clients through what are roughly the costs. What does it cost to set one up at the start, and what would be the rough cost to manage it each year? Okay. There's a little bit of depends where you go.
Yeah.
Okay. There are statutory costs with a self-managed super fund. You've got to get a trustee, and I'd always go a company trustee, and then you need that explained to you and all the rest of it. So that alone, probably the low 2000s. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll get some that might charge more, but they might wash your car or something like that as well. I don't do that, so right. You're gonna need a statement of advice. Okay, and a statement of advice can cost anything from low twos to you name it, depending on how complex it is. So if the statement of advice is just on setting up a self-managed super fund, understanding the pitfalls, having a bank account there, I'm not recommending too many investments, that could be about $3,000. If I am doing more than that, doing some insurances, which you should have, by the way,
absolutely.
self-managed for sure, and other investments, then it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
I think a lot of advisors like myself now and operate on a fee for service, so they're basically working out how long is it going to take me to discuss all of that, and then basically working at an hourly rate and saying, here, Mr. Client, here's a statement of advice. We're going to be talking about all this. It's going to cost you that much. Okay, you don't want me to talk about that. It'll cost you a little bit less.
Yeah.
Done. Okay. So say, to answer your question, low twos for the statutory stuff, minimum of 3 really.
So not cost prohibitive at all. So
It's actually cheaper than it's ever been. The bad old days, bad old days, a lot of people were charging a lot more.
right. So this is the whole cleanup of the industry. So things have
very
got
much so.
tighter,
Yeah.
and there's more qualified financial advisors in the game, and that's needed up. So that's good.
Yeah.
Good for the end client.
Yep.
Okay. Who's like your perfect type of client? Does it matter what industry types? Police officers, not good for police officers, but good for teachers, or doesn't really matter?
Often police officers have a pretty good super fund anyway.
Right.
But no, it actually doesn't matter. Because what people can do, they can say, okay, well, I want they can run 2 super funds if they want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they might have 200 grand in their own super fund. They can roll out 190, get their employer to keep paying into their original super fund, but have a self-managed super fund that holds the investments there as well. Depends on them. But no particular type of client or industry or anything like that. They just have to be aware there's a little bit more administration, there's more control, they're going to know how they're invested.
Yeah.
If they can handle that, perfect, fine.
That's good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and over in the past 5 years, past decade or whatever, have self-managed super funds performed better than industry, or is that a broad statement?
That's too broad a statement, because a super fund really, a self-managed super fund is just a wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
How it's going to perform is the investments within.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you've just been invested in cash, well, you know it hasn't done anywhere near as good as an industry fund.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've been in, some US ETFs or other investments.
What's the weirdest investment?
I had one gentleman who wanted a watch. All right, so we got him a watch. But the thing was, good point, right?
He wanted to watch. Okay, so that's interesting because
I forgot the brand, but it was a pretty flash watch. But I'm like, your super fund, self-managed fund can buy a watch, but here's the rub.
You cannot wear it.
You cannot wear it. You cannot keep it at your house.
Yeah.
You've got to keep it in a lockbox in a storage area or storage centre.
Yeah.
So you can't use it, right? So another one had wine. I'm like, yeah, okay then, right?
Collectible wine. Yeah.
Collectible wine, and then he got a little bit older, starting a pension. What? He's drinking his wine. Okay, that's how. That's how.
I think that classifies as benefit.
Yeah,
so that
he wasn't inclined. I'm like, that's cool, but I don't want to know really. But yeah, you can get different style of investments within super.
What do most investors decide to invest in as an average? Property, shares. Where do they mainly go?
You have an overwhelming number of a large number of people who set up a self-managed super fund to buy property.
Yeah.
Because that's why they're
safe.
That's safe.
Yeah, equity plays
touch
good.
it, feel it.
Yeah.
They know they don't have to worry about shares going up and down.
Yeah,
you get a lot of those people just have a property and cash.
Yeah, and I think, sorry to come back as well to that, because you actually helped us change a few things here in Bali Investment Properties, where because we have free stays and use of the property, and we've actually been worked with our developers now to still be able to give that, but still be 100% compliant to self-managed super fund investment offshore. So with Australian property, it's purely investment. You can't stay in it. You can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So what you're touching on, the area you're touching on there is a sole purpose test.
Sole purpose.
Okay. And what it's basically saying is any decision made in relation to the assets within the fund have to be for the sole purpose of providing you with a retirement income. Okay? So I can't just buy a nice car and drive that around because then I'm taking benefit of it. I might smash it. Then I won't have less in retirement.
Got really upset about.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a big one. The sole purpose test.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up. That's one of your big ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, to reiterate, every decision that trustee makes, which is also the beneficiary, okay, one and the same, every investment decision has to be made for the sole purpose of providing a retirement income. Might be 10 years' time, 15 years' time, that's it. So every decision.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the number one benefit is it's control. But it's got to suit the type of investor. If they're worried about that management or the stress of it, then stay with an industry super fund. It's not your personality. So cost to set up can be as little as a few $1,000s, but depending on the complexity.
Yeah. Think $5,000 minimum.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's statement of advice and the statutory fees and trustee and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So $5,000 upwards.
Yeah.
Depending.
And I guess as well, there is a number of tax benefits, but again, it's on a case-by-case basis based on everybody's income. But generally, as they're getting closer to retirement, that you generally find people that are putting more into their self-managed super fund. Yeah.
So it actually doesn't matter whether it's self-managed or normal superannuation.
Okay.
The tax laws are the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So contributions tax is far less than your income tax.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're later in life and you don't need the money anymore, well, might as well put into super.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get it out in 3 years' time.
Yeah. And the whole idea is to ensure we have a strong economy for retirees and there's money there for when you come into retirement.
Sole purpose. Bingo.
Yeah.
Income tax within superannuation, so much cheaper.
Right.
15% as opposed to your marginal tax rate. Capital gains tax, okay? 10% instead of your marginal tax rate, okay? With superannuation, especially self-managed, you can really time when you sell an asset, and this is a big one. So if a person bought a property within super, held it for 15 years, and they're going to retire it this year, they might say, all right, I'll sell the property next year, because guess what? Once that super fund is in pension mode, 0% capital gains tax, 0% income tax. Mm-hmm. So put that in perspective, I buy a property, 2010, I've held it for 15, 17, 18, 20 years. Mm-hmm. I sell it 1 year after retirement, and I walk away without paying any capital gains tax.
Yeah, well.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Of course, been in super, sole purpose, you name it. So.
Yeah. Okay, very smart. Okay, that's great, Andrew. I mean, I think we've covered off a lot there about the benefits for the investor, the cost structure. Again, we've got up on the website here, but we're going to have this down in the bottom of the podcast there as well, with your website and contact details. Mm-hmm. And we love that you're passionate. You've come all the way over to Bali to do the podcast and a 10-day holiday. Can't say this was the sole reason, sole purpose.
The sole purpose.
It wasn't the sole purpose, but yes.
But I am enjoying it.
Yeah, good, buddy. Well, we can't wait we're going to let you go because I know you're off to enjoy the sights of.
There's a certain temple that my partner wants to go see. So
this is the Tanalot Temple.
If you say
this
so.
we're going this afternoon. Very good. Okay, just down the road from the office.
Done.
Andrew, thanks very much for coming into the podcast. We do appreciate your time. Guys, all of the contact details for Andrew are going to be in the notes below. If you've got queries or inquiries about what to do and how to set up a self-managed super fund, please reach out to Andrew Bonnici. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Like and subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you so much.